Hello, I'm here to speak with you about a concept known as Phronesis and how Phronesis can help you in the sales industry. Now a little bit about what Phronesis actually is. The definition can be described as a Greek word for a type of wisdom or intelligence which is a common discussion in philosophy. In layman's terms, and as Aristotle described it for us, it can be described as practical wisdom. It's an aspect of ethos, which is argument by character, which Aristotle argued is probably the most important argument style of rhetoric. Knowledge, however, isn't everything. You must both be knowledgeable and you must be able to demonstrate that you are a practical individual in the sales situation. One of the things that the writer of our class text wrote is, you must be more Edison than you are Einstein. This being said, you must be able to harness the knowledge as well as put it to use. Now, how Phronesis relates. Rhetoric, as we've discussed, is all about persuasion. Sales is also all about persuasion. And how I link them all together is, if you can master Phronesis, this will allow you to better persuade in the sales situation. Now, as my quote states up here, before you can persuade, you must mine one of your most precious resources. This resource is the audience. And in a sales interaction, your audience is a potential client. When you're analyzing this audience, you might want to use a deterministic screen to better get an idea of how they view what you're talking about. In other words, saying something is cheap might mean different things to you or different clients. So you have to take that into consideration. The main aspect of Phronesis is gaining trust in your client or the audience. In order to do so, I'll provide some ways to do that. In order to do so, that'll allow you to better persuade. As I put up here, how I kind of view things is trust will equal persuasion. Persuasion will equal the client end up siding with you and putting cash in your pocket. Now, I have a couple steps to gaining trust. One would be showing off your experience. This is something that Heinrich talks about a lot in the text, and he says that experience always trumps book learning. For example, you might want to say something like, I've lived in this area and I understand how harsh the climate can be, whether you're selling windows, doors, something of that such, which shows that you have some experience dealing with what the client is going through. Number two is the ability to bend the rules. This is having the ability to adapt to a given circumstance without technically going by the book. This shows the client that you have the ability to work with them in order to reach the goal. So you might say something such as, I understand this is out of your price range, so here's what I'm going to do for you, which you've heard many times in a sales interaction. Now, my favorite part of Phronesis is finding the sweet spot. Two ways to do so is using things such as, that depends. This shows that you're sizing up the problem and that the client feels that you have invested yourself in the problem, which allows them to better trust you. Another way to use that depends is using it with a comparable experience. So you might say something like, I've seen clients go with this product and this is how it turned out for them, and I've seen clients go with this product and this is how it turned out for them. So you have a comparable experience, so that shows that you have you know what you're talking about a little bit. Now I'm going to show you a quick interaction, nothing fancy, how to use Phronesis to your advantage in a sales situation.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
Great. How can I help you today?
Hey, I'm having a little problem with my windows at home, so I came here to check you guys out.
Okay. I've lived here for a long time. I understand at this time of year the heat bill can shoot up if you have some pretty out-of-date windows. What I recommend if you're losing energy heat is our line of XL2000 windows. What do you think about that? That's our top of the line.
Yeah, I was looking at that price. That's a little bit out of my price range. I was thinking about, do you have any cheaper options?
We do have a cheaper line, but I've seen, I've sold to people who go with the cheaper line, and I've also sold to the people who go with the upper line, the XL2000s. And based on my experience with those two sales, it's definitely worth going with the upper echelon of windows.
Yeah, all right. I see where you're going, Rick, but is there any way you can sweeten the deal for me to get me in my price range that I'm looking for?
I'll tell you what, I'll work with you a little bit here. If you go ahead and go with the top of the line windows, the XL2000s, I'll throw in 3 windows for free, if that works.
Man, Rick, you seem like a real straight shooter. I like that.
Hey, I'm just here to work with you and make the deal end up.
Thanks, Rick.